Now, I'm going to introduce you to another routing protocol, which is the VTP, or the Virtual Routing Protocol. And let me also give you a checklist for this one. Now, first, we have to identify which version are you going to use. There are three versions of the VTP. The version 1 is not stable, version 2 is stable, and version 3 is not yet stable to be implemented. Second is we have to declare a domain name. For every domain name that you declare on your switch, this must be the same as the first one, because if you configured it on the other domain name, it means that it will get another information from another switch. So please be careful with the domain name. Also, this is not case sensitive, so just be careful with the name that you'll be putting. Now, the third one is you have to identify which mode does the VTP switch will be used. So we have three modes in here. So server, client, and the third one is transparent. So in the server mode is the master of all switch, which means that in this mode you can create your own VLAN, and whatever is the information that you have here, it could be copied by the client mode. So in the client mode, you can create your own VLAN, but when you enable the trunking to the interface of the client, going to the trunk interface of the server will be the client mode will copy the information that whatever you have configured on your server. Now next is transparent mode. Now in this mode, you will create your own VLAN because it has its own world, which means that but it cannot copy whatever VLAN data is created from server nor client. So if ever you have a server and then it is connected to a transparent mode, and then there's another transparent mode, you have to create another VLAN on the other transparent switch because it cannot copy whatever data you have input on the first transparent switch. As you can see, it has only a database that couldn't be copied nor could it be transferred to others, so it's only for local connection. So it means transparent mode cannot copy nor share whatever data it have. So the second one on the checklist is you need to create your own VLAN. So in creating VLANs, this is easy. You just have to declare the VLAN and the number that you wanted to assign. For example, I'm gonna use VLAN 10, and then I'll just declare the name of the VLAN that I wanted. For example, this VLAN 10 is assigned to the HR. So let's add another one, VLAN 20. Then I'll assign it to IT, and that's how you configure your VLAN. The third one is which interfaces on the switch would you call it the trunk ports and also the access ports. So in a few seconds, I'll be showing you how to configure a VTP with a server, client, and transparent switch on it. So for the trunk ports, So for the trunk ports, so for example, I'll be going for the interface. I'll just label it as XY. Then I'll declare switch port, trunk, encapsulation.1Q. Then gonna declare it as trunk, switch port, mode, and then trunk. Please be careful with the word mode and trunk because sometimes these two are mostly interchanged by others. So that's how you configure your trunk. And for the access, first it's switch port, access, and then just declare the VLAN of the end devices that you'll be assigning it. So for example, I have a PC and I'll assign it to VLAN 100, and I'll just put switch port, mode, access. So the switch would know that this device that is connected to the switch is gonna be in a VLAN 10 and she's an access, so it will be like the end devices that will get an IP address to. And that's how you configure your trunk and access ports. Now let's try to do some hands-on work on this one. I'm gonna let you see a real configuration for this one. So I have here a switch and I'm gonna enable them into VTP. So these are my end devices. Now first on the checklist is that we're gonna enable the VTP. Let's declare the version, the domain name, and the mode. So I'm gonna be assigning this switch as my server, then this one is my client, and this will be on transparent mode. Now let's start the configuration with the server mode. Now let's just open and enable, and I'm gonna config T VTP version 2, then VTP domain harness. As you can see, it changed from null to harness. Then I'm gonna declare the mode, which is the VTP mode and server. Now let's try to configure this client, and no, enable config T and VTP, okay, version 2 VTP domain harness and VTP, see, this is mode client. Okay, now let's configure the transparent. Just open it, enable config T VTP version 2, then it's a VTP domain harness and VTP mode transparent. Oops, transparent. Okay, the VLAN, we are done enabling the VTP on the 3 switch. Now let's try to do the VLANs first. So I'll be putting the PC on the 10 VLAN, laptop as the 20, and server as the 30 VLAN. So let's first try here in the server. So I'll just declare VLAN 10 and I'll name it PC, and exit, then VLAN 20, which I'll be naming laptop. I'll go ahead exit, and VLAN 30, and I'll put the name as the server. Now if you wanted to check if the configuration is right, just use the command do show VLAN brief. Now as you can see, it has already the VLAN configuration and it says active here. Now let's go with the client. Now on my checklist, I have already told you that the client won't be creating its own VLAN, but instead it will be copying whatever the server mode have already configured. Now let's try and see. Let's do show VLAN brief. Now as you can see, it doesn't have any VLANs because we haven't yet configured any ports in here. So for that one, let's skip the client first and let's go to transparent and let's create a VLAN here. So VLAN 10, and then I'll name it that one as a PC, exit, then VLAN 20 as my laptop, exit, and VLAN 30 would be my server. Okay, now after we have created the VLANs on my checklist, we need to determine the ports, if they are the access or the trunk. Now here in VTP, all end devices that will obtain an address to the switch would be put on your access port. Now whatever switch you have and you need to have their like connectivity, you need to specify it as a trunk. So this switch, and this switch will be configured as trunk ports, and then the end devices would be your access. Now let's start with the server, and I'm gonna declare interface fa0/1 and declare the support switch port, trunk, encapsulation .1q, then switch port mode trunk. Now as you can see, the interface hub up. It means that the trunking is enabled on the interface of the switch. Now let's go with the client, and here it is interface fuzz0/1, and I'm gonna type interface fuzz0/1, enabling switch port trunk encapsulation.1q and switch port mode trunk. Now, as you can see, the interface have already up also, and it's fuzz02 this time. So just put interface fuzz0/2 and switch port trunk encapsulation.1q and switch port mode trunk. Oh, there you have it. Then let's go with the transparent and the interface fuzz0/2. Oh, in the wrong mode. Sorry. VT interface fuzz0/2 switch port trunk encapsulation.1q, then switch port mode trunk. Okay, now it's all up. Now let's first go with the server switch, then we'll declare each and every devices as a access port. So let's go with exit, then we can just type interface range fuzz0. So we have here in fuzz03, 4 and 5. Declare 0/3 up to 5, then declare switch port mode access, and then we'll configure it manually and declare from which access should this device will obtain an address. So switch port access, since I have put PZ as my VLAN 10, 20 as a laptop, and 30 as a server, just configured interface VLAN 10. There you go. Then exit, then interface fuzz0/4 and switch port access VLAN 20. Then go with exit, then interface fuzz0/5 switch port access VLAN 30. Now there you have it. Now if you wanted to check if your configuration is right for the trunking, you could use the command show interface trunk. Then there you go. Trunking is on fuzz0/1 interface, and for the access you could do show VLAN brief. As you can see here, I have here the VLAN's number and the name, and also the active ports that is assigned to the end devices. Now here, now let's try with the client, and interface range fuzz0/4 up to 6 and switch port mode and access. Now after that, let's manually assign each interfaces into its corresponding VLAN. 4, then switch port access. So the server is on VLAN 30, and exit, then interface fuzz0/5 would be on switch port access, and it is on VLAN 10, which is the PC. Then tap exit again, interface fuzz0/6, then declare the switch port access, which is on VLAN 20. Now, if you wanted to check if your configuration is right for the trunking again, let's do show interface trunk. And as you can see here, fuzz0/1 and fuzz0/2 have enabled a trunking ports. And to check if the access is configuredly right, do show VLAN brief. As you can see here, there is the VLAN number and the name, and also the port status the end devices are active. So let's go and try with the transparent. Now type exit, then interface range fuzz0/3 up to 5, then let's declare it as a switch port switch port mode access, then enable each interface manually. 40/3, then switch port access VLAN. Since that is the laptop, let's go with VLAN 20, then exit, then interface fa0/4, and then switch port access VLAN 10, then step exit, then interface fa0/5, then enable the access switch port, then type it switch port access, and that since that is a server, it belong to VLAN 30. If you wanted to check if the configurations is right, so first with the trunking, do show interface trunk, and as you can see here, the ports, the fa0/2 have enabled a trunking port, and to show the access, do show VLAN brief. As you can see here, there is a VLAN created, and also the active ports that you have assigned to. And we're done. That's how you configure your VTP, and don't forget the checklist that you need to remember. And that's it. Now, since we're done with your laboratory of VTP, let's go with your SIMLET this time. Now, here it is. And I have here the questions, and also let's just close this one, and I have here the topology. So as you can see, I have here 2 routers, and I have here 4 switches, and these 3 switches have 4 connected PC hosts to each of them, then a server connected to this switch, and a VLAN R1 connected to this switch. Now, let's go with the first. So let's proceed with the SIMLET. Now, here is the question. What interface did switch AC3 associate with source MAC address 0010.580c.ffba? Now, how do we check the MAC addresses of the interfaces? So first, let's go with topology, and let's open this switch AC3, which is this switch, and then I'll just type here the command show MAC address -table. And as you can see here, I have here the VLAN numbers and the MAC addresses and the type and the ports number they are connected to. So as you can see, let's try to find the address. Oh, hold on. 0010.580c.ffba. 0010.580c.ffba. So this is not it. And there you go. Here it is. It's connected on fa0/8 on VLAN 44, and the type is dynamic. So the answer for this one would be D. And as you can see here on the explanation of the Word file. Now, if you're having trouble with it, just read all. If you're having trouble with finding the right answer, you can review it. Here. The explanation is right after the questions for each of the SIMLET. Now let's proceed with your question 2. What ports on switch AC3 are operating has trunks? Now choose 3. So we have to know which interfaces are connected as a trunk in switch AC3. Now from switch AC3, let's open it, and here, this switch. So let's click. And then to know, as I've told you earlier, to know which trunk ports which interfaces are configured as trunk, let's use the command show interface trunk. And as you can see here, there are 3 ports, the fa0/3, fa0/9, and fa0/12. So the right answer for question number 2 is fa0/3, fa0/9, and fa0/12. So here it is. 3, 9, and 12. Now, after the question, you will see here the explanation. Then let's proceed with question number 3. Oops. Now, what kind of router is VLAN R1? So, let's go again with topology and let's open this device. Then, if you wanted to know which version is the device, you could use the command show version. So, the device. Now, if you're having a hard time reading this one, you could go with the switch AC3 since the VLAN R1 is directly connected to it. We could use the command show CDP neighbors. Then you can see here that the interface is, let me just display. Let's go with options, then preferences, and I'll just click this one, then I'll close. So then let's tap the command show CDP neighbors, then 100, and that's how you know. Or you could use the show version for VLAN R1 up here, enable, then show version. Could also see here it's 2600. So if we're gonna look at the choices, as you can see here, the right answer and just the nearest is 2620. Since on your topology you'll see here the description 2621 XM. So after the question, you'll see the answers right here. Now let's go with question number 4. And the question is, which switch is the root bridge for VLAN 1? Now let's go with the switch, to follow the topology first. Let's go with the topology first, and let's open switch AC3. Then from there, let's use the command show spanning -3 VLAN 1. And as you can see, the root port for this switch is in interface FA0/12, and the choices would be switch DS1, switch AC1, switch AC2, and switch AC3. And use the command show CDP neighbors and check the interface FA0/12. And as you can see, it belonged to switch DS1, which means that the right answer for question number 4 is letter A, switch DS1. And below is the explanation for the question. And let's proceed with the question number 5. What address should be configured as the default gateway for the host connected to interface FA0/4 of switch AC3? Now let's go again with switch AC3 here, then close the router, and this is the switch. Then and there you have it. So to know, let's use the command show VLAN brief. And as you can see here, interface FA0/4 is active and the VLAN 44. Now then there you have it. FA0/4 is active in VLAN 44, which makes it 192.168.44.254 is the answer. And here is the explanation. So the IP address is right configured in here, topology. And let's go with question number 6. Now, from which from which switch did switch AC3 receive VLAN information? So first, let's go with the topology, and let's open again switch AC3. Go this one, open it. Let's go this one, sorry. Then let's use the command show VTP status. Then as you can see, the last configuration modified was by the address 1.1.1.1. Now to show from which address has been configured this, let's use the command show cdp cdp neighbors detail, and as you can see here, there is the device, and let's see from which address does 1.1.1 belong to. So in here you will see that the VLAN R1, here it is, the address is 192.168.22.254. Next, VLAN R1 also 44.254. Okay, let's go for up. So here in VLAN 1, it's 192.168.44.254. VLAN R1 also with 192.168.33.254. And as you can see here, switch AC2 1.1.1.1, and VLAN also with 192.168.22.254, and that's it. So the address 1.1.1.1 belong to switch AC2, and the right answer would be C, because it has the address of 1.1.1. So below is the explanation for the question number 6. Then let's proceed with question number 7. Refer to the exhibit. Switch X was taken out of the production network for maintenance. It will be reconnected to the FA 0/16 port of switch AC3. What happens to the network when it is reconnected and a trunk exists between the two switches? So if we're going to examine in here, these are the choices. All VLANs except the default VLAN will be removed from all switches. B. All existing switches will have the students, admin, faculty, servers, management, production, and nowhere VLANs. C. The VLAN, servers, management, production, and nowhere will replace the VLANs on switch X. D. The VLAN, servers, management, production, and nowhere will be removed from existing switches. So from A, all VLANs except the default VLAN will be removed from all switches. So this won't be matching the statements, since once you enable a trunking port on the two switches, it will just form a connectivity, and it says I'm a trunk and I'm also a trunk, and will be the one giving information to the end devices. So here in B, this will not be the answer also, because it says here that all existing switches will have the students. This would be the answer if and only if the switch or the other switch configured is client mode. So since you're creating VLANs on a server mode, if the other switch is put on a client mode, it will directly copy what information have the server mode already configured. So in C, the VLAN, servers, management, production, and nowhere will replace the VLANs on switch X. So this won't be the right answer also, because as you can see, the VLANs should be manually configured from each and every switch, if and only if that is a server or transparent mode. Now the right answer would be D, because you're gonna be trunking the ports of the interfaces that are connected in the switch, so it will be removed from existing switches. So below is the explanation for this one, and let's proceed with question number 8. Out of which ports will a frame be forwarded that has source MAC address 0010.5A0Z, .FT86, and destination MAC address 00A.8A47.E612. So let's first go with the topology, and let's click switch AC3, and then close this one. And then first, let's check by typing the show MAC address. So show MAC address and then dash table. So let's look at here again. So the source is 0010.5A0C.FT86, and as you can see here, 0010.5A06.FT86. Yep, this MAC address is belong to VLAN 33 in port 50/6, and we'll use show VLAN brief for that. So as you can see, the traffic will pass by and this interfaces that are active, but it won't be passing the 6 since this is the source. And so the choices would be 50/1, 50/3, 50/4, 50/6, 50/8, and 50/12. And as you can see here, we'll be passing by on that MAC address. So hold on, let me just, if you're gonna compare this one interfaces and also this one and the choices that we have, so the MAC address 0010.5A0C.FT86 going to the destination 00A.8A47.E612 will be passing by the interfaces 5001, 5003, and 5012 because all the choices that we can give here is 501, 2, 5, 7, 3, 9, and 12. And the choices that we have here is 1, 3, 4, 6, 8, and 12. And the right answer for this one would be 50/1, 50/3, and 50/12. Now below, if you're gonna look at the explanation, you could also see here, then you'll know that the answers are right below the questions. Now let's proceed with the question number 9. If one of the hosts connected to switch AC3 wants to send something for the IP 190.0.2.5 or any IP that is not in the same subnet, what will be the destination MAC address? So first in this one, we're gonna go again with switch AC3, and I'm gonna use the command show CDP neighbors. So I could see the 192.0.2.5, and as you can see in the CDP neighbors, let's look at VLAN R1, which is enabled in FAS Ethernet 0/3, then also FAS 0/3, and you can see here FAS 0/3. Since you know the interface that is directly connected network is, let's use the command show MAC address dash table. Then if you're gonna look at with the FAS 0/3, you'll see here that the MAC address would be 00D0.D3C6.3D01. So the right answer would be this MAC address 00D0.D3C6.3D01. But in this question, as you can see, the MAC address of the switch have been on another MAC address. So the answer that we're gonna look for here is this one, 00A.B7E9.8360, which is letter B. But if you're gonna have this kind of statement, please make sure you are on the right information that you are looking for, and please do not confuse about getting any information from this one. So just don't think deep and just match the statements with the given choices. That's all you have to do for the SIMLET. So I hope guys you enjoy listening and you learn something from it.